Hello, and welcome to Rory's Brainworks, where we get creative and see if it works. Today we will be doing another self-tie tutorial I have dubbed the 4-braid harness. That is true, and if you cannot love yourself, then who can you love? I'm going to try and talk about a few things that are less about the meat of the harness, more about the endings, things you can do at the end when you have some of this extra homework rope. I'm also going to leave it open to you to do whatever you want, but I'm going to give you some suggestions. This tie will give you an ample amount of homework rope, and hopefully I could give you some ideas of what to do with it. But before we tackle that, we must first talk about safe, sane, and consensual safety. Be sure to have some safety shears with you at all times. You can always get a new rope, can't get a new life. And consensual. Me, Marie, and Crochet Rory are all consenting adults. Communication is key. Now, as we take a deep dive into this self-tying tutorial, we must first thank my sponsor, Knothead Nylon.
Knothead Nylon is the destination for all your premium nylon rope bondage needs. Easy to clean, water resistant, up to 1,100 pounds of weight load, and in a wide array of beautiful, vibrant colors, Knothead Nylon will slake your rope desires. At checkout, put in discount code RORY10 for 10% off.
Now Marie has chosen for me to use this neon yellow and neon green, which is blacklight activated as well. I don't have one yet. I'll do a video on that. That'll be so cool. I'm going to reiterate something that I had said in the last self-tie tutorial video that I did, and that the front should be a little bit more complex and the back should be as simple as possible. That's going to continue with this. For the most part, the most that happens in the back is that they're just going to cross over and back towards the front. That kind of simplicity is something you want to look for when you're tying something on yourself. You don't want to have your hands back here going like, I think that's what he said. So I'm doing my best to make that a reality. Now this will start with the bites of the rope, the middle of the rope going around the back of the neck in whichever pattern you want your ropes to be in. Have one color on the inside, one color on the outside, or if you wanted to, you could have the colors on either side, like so, and all you would have to do was connect them in the back with a square knot. But I have chosen to have the neon yellow on the inside and the green on the outside. So let's begin. So simple enough as the name might imply, we're going to be braiding these 4 strands. Pretty easy. We're going to take the 2 middle ones, they're going to go in and out, and then we'll weave through those. Follow the neighbor rope right here. Since it went over, this one's going to go under and cross over to that side. This one followed the neighbor rope, it went under and then over, which means we will go over, then under. This is an early one. So saith the Rory. We got that out of the way real quickly. Since we started on the inside last time, inside and then outside, we're going to do the outside and then inside now. The yellow rope started it, and the yellow ropes will start it again. So since we just went over, we're going to then go under. Since we just went under, we're going to go over and then under, and then do that again with the other ropes. Cool. We have a double braid, giving us 2 X's in the middle here. These are going to spread out and go around beneath the armpit. Now all these 2 tails are going to do when they go around is just cross over each other and come back. So they went around and back to the front. You see that they did not twist in the back because they have the same pattern going on, yellow, green, yellow, green. Something you can do, if you wanted to, is to twist them in the back. You give them 1 twist each, and then you'll have green, yellow. So it'll be yellow, green, green, yellow. Create that kind of design, if you like that. For simplicity's sake, I'm choosing not to go with that. Not to say that it makes it any more difficult, but I'm not going to shake it up for you guys. You can shake it up on your own. You see? Look at them. They got the right idea. Now the importance right here, up in the neck, is to make sure that you can get 1 finger to 2 fingers in there, super easy. It's not going to cinch and it's not going to tighten because of the braiding. The braiding is going to cause an immediate stop to that. A weave is just going to be as good as any lock or friction you can do. So we're going to do the same thing we did up here. That yellow will cross over that, and then the greens go. Follow that neighbor rope. That went over, this went under. Same thing with this side. Under, over, under. Cool. You can pull from either side, tighten that a little bit. Marie, how does that feel? You feel braided. That's a new one on me. All right, now the yellow on the outside is going to start the braid again. As it went over here, it's going to start by going under, opposite on this side. Pow! Easy. Now the green's turn. Boom, look at that. You can see the pattern already. That's what we're creating. And just like before, these are gonna cross in the back. They're gonna pass by each other, say hello, tighten up a little bit, and come back around towards the front. Let's continue this again. I'm gonna do it about 2 more times. And because you're smart cookies, I'm going to just continue this and assume that you have already picked up the pattern. If not, well, you have the roadmap just above you right now. It makes it more simple that way. Can't really get lost when you have that roadmap in front of you. I think I'm gonna go around once more, and then I'm gonna create one more of these braids before we get into homework rope territory. So here we are. We're at a crossroads. We have this harness attached. We've gotten down here, and we got about 3 feet of rope on either side. That's homework rope territory. That is where the imagination is alive. And perhaps you will tell me, but Rory, I do not have such a verbose imagination as you do. Give me some options. You know what? I'll throw some options your way. Here's some of the things you can do with the homework rope. Endings are always important, and there's a lot of guesswork that gets put into it, unless it's a tie that's very specific. But sometimes when you're tying someone, or even on yourself, you're gonna use a different amount of rope based off of the different things that you're doing. Learning how to end something is incredibly hard. Sometimes it gets messy, sometimes it doesn't come out the way you want it to. The ending might mar the grandeur of the rest of it, but eventually you'll get there. Practicing the ends is almost as important as practicing specific harnesses as well. You can create some blank slate harness and then try and figure out how to end with a certain amount of rope. Test yourself. 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 feet of rope. What are you gonna do with the rest of that? Let me show you some options. So we have one of the first options here, which is going to be a crossing weave pattern. What you need for a crossing weave is to make sure that you have the ability to come back around towards yourself, to cross over yourself, or else you have no weave. So when we look at it, you have the braid right here that ended. These two cross over and go down. They're gonna go beneath the cleft of the glutes. They went down and around, crossed over, back, around, and then up towards the back again. When it comes to a lot of weaving, you're going to be making a lot of X patterns. Keep that in mind if you want to try doing a small little weave like that. Let me show you the back. You want to accentuate that booty, this is going to help that. It's going to give you some lift, because when we came back around from the braid, it's going to go beneath the cleft, underneath, pick that up. It's going to go around, cross over, creates the weave in the front, and then up towards this way. Created a square knot, went down, separated the X in all of the crossovers, another square knot, and had maybe like 4 or 5 inches of rope that's just dangling right there. As you can see in the back, each one of these is going to be crossing over, creating that X. Just right here, I decided to separate them and actually definitively create the X. Move on to the next one. So with this one, we have hip holsters. If you're unsure, this is probably the easiest option to go with. Once it goes back down, it's going to go towards the bottom, the cleft of the glutes again, and then through the legs, around, through again, and through again for a 3rd time. So it came around, went underneath, and started going around the leg. Once it came back around, I had only so much rope left. I was hoping to get this in the back, but I'll deal with just having it in the side. So I went underneath everything, over, and then locked it in place by frictioning itself. This cannot move because it itself is blocking itself from moving. Now I have a small amount here and a large amount here. How am I going to rectify this? I'm going to have this part come up this way, trying to get as little rope as possible to be dangling. This part's going to come back around, and it's going to wrap in front of it and through. And then it's going to wrap underneath this and through. Cinch that up, and now this needs to be cinched, so it's going to get cinched on itself by going through there. You can tighten that up a little bit. There we go. If you want to have it go through again, by all means do so. One of the important things to remember when working with something like this is that the more pressure that's on the inside, the more uncomfortable and potentially dangerous it becomes. You obviously want to create some form of tightness, but at the same time, inside here, directly around this area, when you get about 2-3 inches below the pubis, you find this area where you have a lot of blood flow happening. A little bit higher up here, much easier to deal with. You have a lot of ligaments and fascial sheaths over here that prevent so much blood flow from being taken out. That's when it starts to go more internal. So about 3 inches down and a little bit further towards the back is where you're gonna have a lot of blood flow. But as soon as it gets a little bit higher, it goes a little bit more medial into your body and then protected by a bunch of ligaments and fascia and muscle. But always be aware, about 3 inches down in this little area of the hip is gonna start getting a lot more dangerous when it comes to restricting blood flow. Always keep that in mind. Closer to the pubic area, better. Not great, nothing's ever safe. You always wanna be sure, about 3 inches down. That's when it starts to get a little bit more dangerous in that point. On to the next one. This one, a little more complicated. To me, it seems a little messy, but you guys might like it, who knows? So when we came from the double braid, we went around, cupped the glutes, came up through the crotch, and then we started weaving in and out. One of the more important things to note when beginning this weave, all I can say is that pay attention to where these ends are. This one was underneath, this one was over. So when I came up on this side, I have to suppress this one right here because it was so pushed outward. And this one was depressed. High horse, depressed. We uplift our depressed friends by pushing it out, and we ground our high horse friends by pushing it down. And then you follow that weaving pattern. Even when you cross over here, you're still going in and out, over and under, as you progress upwards. I thought it was cheeky to put a nice little X weave right here and go over and around. Feels a bit busy for me, maybe a little bit messy, but to each their own. Let's look at the back real quick. Now this does make the back look a little bit more clean as it came around, crossed over, and then weaved in and out of these X's when you came and crossed over themselves. Probably a little bit harder to do on yourself. You might just kind of come over, do a double square knot. When you're doing this on yourself, you might just want to come over the shoulders and put it in an overhand knot or just let it fall down. Doesn't necessarily have to be put through here, but I decided to add that little extra in there. And maybe one more I can show you guys. Maybe you want to flip the script entirely and turn the 4-braid harness into a box tie. Create a gote shibari. Then you can do that. Where are your limits, really? When you have that imagination, there's not a whole lot stopping you from making something amazing. The box tie though, well, that's a different tale for another time. Well, hey, I hope you had as much fun learning from that tutorial as we did teaching them to you. I think Marie got stuck. I don't know, I don't question her modus operandi. We should probably get her unstuck. First, I would be remiss if I did not bring up my other lovely sponsors for today, the wonderful people over at Patreon. That's patreon.com/Rory's Brainworks, just like this YouTube channel. They are my rope vanguard, my colonizers of dreams. And without them, these ropey endeavors would be way harder to accomplish. Thank you for spending your time with me. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to this madness, and comment down below what kind of ropey things you would like us to teach you. As always, I'm Rory. This is our brain. I'm fairly certain it works. Be safe and go create some art. I'm coming.